Alec, Guthrie.
Chris Barclay.
All right.
It's great to have you here.
I swear to God, we're in the band room.
Oh yeah, we're just in one of the practice rooms right over.
All right, let's just talk face to face. Let's just have it be a conversation, like about my work.
Would it be okay if I started with some of the things that I...
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you come up with the naming of your character I, like a lowercase I? What compelled you to do this? Is it that it is like reflective of yourself? Is it that it's really not important who this person is? Could it be anyone? What specifically makes this character who they are?
Well, I chose to name the character I believe, because I was sitting in math class, and this is like the start of my my writing. I just on a whim said, let's do a one sentence a day short story, you know? And so I just kind of like had this idea of like, I'll name it I, like the lowercase I, symbolizing how like it's imaginary. Like I wanted the entire thing to be avant-garde, and it ended up being the beginning, in my opinion, being just like awful, being kind of this unoriginal kind of mess conglomeration. But I really love the naming of it being reflective of myself, and then E.E. Cummings did that thing with like lowercasing his like entire name for some humble reason. And then it also is reflective of later on eyeballs and kind of vision and this idea of perspective, really, which is an interesting notion. And besides that, I've got a couple more, I guess, connections that I could make to it, but it was just mostly the idea of me. It was like...
It's not narcissistic in the slightest.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily supposed to be narcissistic, but I think it might have came out that way. But I was just bored in the middle of math class. I was like, let's name him I.
Was it while you were talking about the number I?
Yes, we were talking about I very briefly, and I was like, that might be an interesting character name. I don't know.
And also, there is a lot of interesting punctuation.
Punctuation?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You'll start sentences off with lowercase letters, you'll end a sentence with a semicolon, you'll just put things in not quite the order that you would see. It seems like it would be in. You can see some of the things here that I highlighted about that.
Yeah. Punctuation, well, here's my general rule about punctuation for myself. I honestly don't care about punctuation in the slightest. I think that it's useless, and I hate it. However, and I say this as a big however, I think that you should be able to use punctuation. You should be able to know, just in general, the rules of punctuation. And my English teachers will hate me about that, but I believe that it's very much it relates to kind of art in a way. If you're able to use a medium such as oil painting, or if you're just doing kind of a charcoal outline, if you're able to do that well, and you're able to use whatever medium effectively. You look at Martin Luther King. He uses punctuation to kind of make these points when he's listing off, reasons in his, I believe, was it his his letter from a Birmingham cell, prison cell, jail. Yeah. He uses this one moment where he just uses so many commas, one after the other, to make the reader kind of wait, and make the reader, have to kind of slow down and read every single reason. And then after that, it's just reason after reason. and then he kind of concludes this paragraph in the most brilliant way. And technically, that's a run-on sentence. You know, your grammar teacher would be like, excuse me, it's a run-on sentence right here. But, and it's, I don't know, I guess in general, it's more artistic, I guess. In general, I'd say that punctuation doesn't matter. I feel as though the only punctuation that matters to me is the M dash. I think that the M dash is the most beautiful piece of punctuation that anybody could ever learn how to use. Just stylistically for me. There are some people who rarely use commas because they want the sentence to have an impact or a flow. And there are some people who use commas very carefully, and they'll kind of splice a sentence up. And I feel as though I'm kind of in the middle of that. And some sentences I'll just kind of use a semicolon in a weird way, and a lot of the times just to throw off the reader. It's just to kind of convey that this isn't going to be your average everyday story, that this is just my voice, and however I felt that day about punctuation is the way it's going to go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, this one sentence, it starts with a lowercase l. Light and sound, and a sky and wind sped past him as he fell, semicolon, back towards the earth below.
Yeah. In that moment, I was trying to convey him falling off of the France roof, or the roof of the French building that he's on, and I really wanted it to be this moment. And I was imagining this in math class. I was imagining myself falling, and that feeling of falling, and kind of what that would look like. And I imagined, in contemporary France, which is where this is set up, but really kind of time is this construct that I play with a whole lot throughout the piece. I wanted to convey this feeling of falling, and also like what the world around you would look like. And I think I used the semicolon there just because I could, just because, and honestly, I don't know all of the punctuation rules as a high schooler, which is like, I don't know, I was never taught all of them, but I can use punctuation and I know how to research it. But I just felt as though that would be a neat place to put a semicolon.
Another thing, where is it? Oh, and the part right before that, in the sentence, suddenly he was nowhere, in between sound waves suspended in air. Period, lowercase t. Then he was up on the roof of a hotel in France, and vibrant colors whirled around him. It was night. He couldn't balance and fell. And there's like no comma, nothing between there, and I really liked that there, because it's just talking about like the way, like the colors, where he is, how he felt, and then it's just he's back in the moment, like, and it's reading it's kind of like, wait, what just happened? It feels like you have to reread it, essentially, which I think that it conveys the feeling very well.
Yeah. I feel as though a lot of reading nowadays is kind of ergogical. It's ergogical in the way that you look at punctuation, and I personally believe that it's all meant done. That really there's not a whole lot where you can go with the written word to convey some feeling. You've got Hemingway using a syndeton and, like kind of conveying this fast-paced narrative, and I believe it was Faulkner. I don't know. There's a whole lot of pretentious, links that I could say or correlate, but I feel as though really it's the imagery that I want to create. And if you look at Edgar Allan Poe, the reason why the raven or the pigeon.
Yeah, the pigeon. Check it out in Galloway's Lit Mag.
It will be, and actually it's not going to be in Galloway's Lit Mag.
Maybe.
Maybe it is. It's a definite maybe. I feel as though I wanted to create this aura of imagery. I wanted it to be one scene to the next, kind of whirling you around, placing you in the position of the Woolgatherer, in the position of somebody kind of like living their life from moment to moment. I'm not sure if you've seen the movie Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Still haven't seen it.
Yeah, but
Can we please watch it sometime?
we'll watch it sometime. We watched it last year at theater sleepover, but alas.
Wait, which one?
Did we? The big fish one, I thought. I don't think we did, actually. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't.
It was the big fish one that we watched. That weird.
Oh yeah, Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah, that was what we
Yeah.
watched.
Alas. We'll watch Scott Pilgrim, I promise you.
At Footloose Theater Sleepover.
Well, maybe.
At Mama's house at Betty Blast Ass Blasting Emporium.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, let's see. What was the question again?